infuse the bread and the wine such that they become transformed or transubstantiated into the living presence of the body and the blood of Christ.
Transubstantiation is one of the Catholic Church's most exalted mysteries. And Catholics believe that through this transubstantiation miracle or process, somehow these ordinary wafers and ordinary wine become, as a matter of fact, the blood and body of Jesus.
In the example of the Catholic Mass, the recitation of the Eucharist prayer is believed to infuse the bread and wine with an outside energy. Similarly, many cultures hold the belief that talismans can become energized through spoken words or sacred sounds.
Throughout all sorts of cultures, ancient African cultures, South American, Sumer, ancient Egypt, you name it, the power of the world was quite something.
Egyptians used magical words over all the talismans. Talismans that they carried, talismans that they buried the dead with. All of these items would have magical words spoken over them, chanted over them.
In South Asian traditions, Tantric Buddhism, for example, or Hinduism, and even Jainism, the power of the spoken word is paramount. The words unlock divine potential in talismans.
Spoken words and sacred sounds also play a critical role in Native American rituals, especially in connection to certain places or objects.
If you go to Native American ceremonies, you see that repeating certain phrases that are essential to the ritual. The words are the conveyor. The word is the portal to the sacred dimension.
Is it possible that certain words, when spoken, can imbue objects with talismanic power, perhaps unlocking gateways to other dimensions and even otherworldly beings? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and point to recent experiments conducted at one of the most mysterious sites in the world, Skinwalker Ranch. Located in northern Utah, this 512-acre property has been a hotbed of UFO sightings and other mysterious phenomena for more than a century. Today, a team of researchers, which includes astrophysicist Dr. Travis Taylor, is conducting scientific experiments across the property and has documented numerous startling anomalies, including a number of unidentified aerial phenomena.
Hey, look, you gotta be right there.
See it? Some of which have vanished into thin air.
It's gone.
According to the traditions of the indigenous Navajo people in the Uinta Basin, the phenomenon that occurs on Skinwalker Ranch is actually related to interdimensional portals. And they believe that by utilizing certain words and sound frequencies, particularly in conjunction with talismanic objects, these portals can be opened.
Within Native American culture, there are music, there's chants, there's things that are done at a certain frequency, and we believe that it's very possible that different frequencies can open portals to other places.
In 2022, an organization of indigenous tribal members known as Blazing Bear were invited to Skinwalker Ranch in order to perform an ancient song ritual near a megalithic spiral of boulders, a formation that was created centuries ago and is believed to hold talismanic power.
A circle of stones that were purposely set up in a circle could be a portal area. Maybe with all our scientific instruments we can nail it down a little better.
As night falls on Skinwalker Ranch, the Blazing Bear drummers continue their song ritual near the spiral of boulders. The investigative team filmed the event using a thermal
Are you kidding me? You should see this. This is fascinating. Right there, that's where the stone circle is. And it's heating up. Look how hot it's getting.
Is it possible that a spiral of boulders was imbued with talismanic powers by the words and sounds of an ancient sacred ritual? While many cultures throughout history have believed that sounds can infuse objects with otherworldly powers, there are those who suggest even more profound talismans can be created from the remains of the dead. Clay figurines believed to be sentient. Coins inscribed with the language of the gods. A spiral of boulders said to open an interdimensional portal. Many talismans are considered to possess great power, but perhaps none more than the remains of holy figures.
Human remains have been used as talismans since the beginning. In the last 2,000 years, we tend to think of human remains in terms of relics. Holy relics used primarily by Christians in order to connect them to the saints who they are praying to as an intercessor between them and God.
It's the idea that just being in the presence of this tiny bit of bone is touching you with the divine. The tip of a little finger belonging to St. John the Baptist, for example, has become hotly contested over the centuries.
Because saints and other holy figures are seen as transcending humanity and having a connection to the divine, their remains are considered to hold special power.
With these talismans, it's as if that energy, that power that these people have, is still embedded in pieces of their body, such as bones or skulls or hair.
While it may sound like a primitive notion that a bone fragment or a piece of fabric retains a connection to the person it once belonged to, some researchers suggest it is not so far-fetched and point to the modern-day scientific concept of quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement says that if two objects or particles were ever connected, they're forever connected. And you can link with it being clear across the universe through an object, through quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement is based on the idea that electrons are like waves, and if I have two electrons right next to each other, they wave simultaneously, coherently. If I separate them, there's a invisible umbilical cord that connects these two, even if I separate them to the ends of the universe.
Is that what talismans are ultimately all about? Some kind of quantum entanglement device? A god originally touched or possessed an object, and it still has the energy of that god. I think it's very possible.
Could there really be a scientific explanation behind the ancient notion that objects can possess a connection to some otherworldly power? And if so, was this taught to our ancestors by extraterrestrial visitors?
The mythology brings us back to this idea of the gods. Were these mythological ideas, or did they come from actual experiences with aliens who were then perceived to be sky gods? Aliens who came forth and communicated.
It may be that really in the past, the early talismans were ET technology, real devices that could do things.
We see talismans in pretty much any culture in modern day society because of belief. It is faith in an object that it is imbued with some sort of a divine or celestial power. And you have to ask the question, why? A thing that has to do with extraterrestrials that visited Earth in a remote past.
Could it be that the talismans we continue to carry with us and revere provide a connection to an incredible past when ancient people encountered visitors from other worlds? And if so, is this simply symbolic? Or might these objects of veneration possess a profound power that we are not yet equipped to understand? Perhaps it is through talismans that our extraterrestrial ancestors have remained among us all along. Sunken continents, said to have once been home to advanced civilizations. An ancient shipwreck containing what might be evidence of Atlantis. And unidentified submersible objects moving through our oceans. For more than a decade, Ancient Aliens has traveled the globe to investigate some of the most puzzling discoveries made in the depths of our oceans. Now, we're exploring the top 10 mysteries of the deep that just may hold the proof that Earth has been visited by extraterrestrials.
The ocean is the most mysterious place on Earth. It covers 70% of our planet, but less than 10% of it has been explored. In fact, we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our own oceans. But what we have discovered in the depths is a treasure trove of evidence for the ancient astronaut theory, like an incredible underwater formation that was found off the coast of Japan in the 1980s. Number 10 on our countdown of the top 10 mysteries of the deep, the Yonaguni Monument.
In the Pacific Ocean, at the westernmost tip of the Japanese archipelago, lies the small island of Yonaguni. In 1987, in nearby waters, dive tour operator Kiichiro Aratake made a shocking discovery. He found a massive complex of stone formations that lay hidden a mere 60 feet beneath the ocean surface.
It's an absolutely incredible structure. It looks like a giant staircase. There are steps in the bedrock with terraces. The symmetry and the regularity that people see on it just makes an astounding impression.
It looks like a huge, multifaceted pyramid platform that stretches over a huge area with all these details carved into it. There's areas where monoliths were said to have been standing. There's even dolmens or large slabs like lintels covering areas and creating doorways and other features.
Although some researchers suggest that the so-called Yonaguni Monument is simply a rock formation, many experts, including Japanese archaeologist Masaki Kimura, have come to believe it is an artificial structure that was built in the distant past.
There are several reasons why I think this is not a natural formation. A number of tools and numerous engraved stones were found at the site. Because of these things, there is no doubt to me that this was made artificially.
There are all these different cuts that seem to be of artificial origin and not of a natural origin. Because it's too precise. Was Yonaguni artificially altered at a time when the water levels of the oceans were lower? We know that this happened at some point during the last ice age, which was 14,000 years ago.
Could this massive underwater structure really be the remnants of an advanced civilization that existed here on Earth more than 10,000 years ago? And if so, who built it?
The Yonaguni Monument is particularly interesting because some
some reports suggest that this was built 20,000 years ago. So the question is, how was it built with this limited ability of these people that are known to have exist in that time? If they had extraterrestrial help, it would solve a lot of problems in trying to understand how a civilization could mount such a daunting enterprise without what we see are the necessary skills to do so.
Was Yonaguni built thousands of years ago with the help of extraterrestrial beings? Perhaps clues about its construction can be found in the mythology of Japan's royal family.
It was said in ancient Japan that the dragon god lived at the bottom of the ocean. His daughter had a daughter, and her child was Jimmu, the first emperor of Japan. To be descended from a dragon is to be from the divine dimension of nature, but also from the stars.
When these underwater structures of Yonaguni were found, the Japanese became thrilled. They believed that evidence for extraterrestrials was right there in southern Japan. To me, the Yonaguni Monument presents clear evidence that an advanced society existed on Earth long before our earliest recorded history. And in fact, numerous ancient cultures around the world tell similar stories of lost civilizations, including one that ended up submerged beneath the sea. Number 9 in our countdown of the top 10 mysteries of the deep, the lost continent of Niue. The Pacific Ocean. This body of water is the largest on Earth, covering more than 63 million square miles. Curiously, many ancient peoples living throughout this vast expanse share the same story of a long-lost, sunken civilization, often referred to as the Moria or Mu.
Mu was this huge continent that supposedly existed from Hawaii in the north down to Easter Island in the southeast, right the way across to Micronesia in the west. It thrived perhaps 50,000 years ago and was sunk beneath the waves, possibly at the end of the last ice age.
Among the many legends expressed by Polynesians and native Hawaiians, one is that the lost continent of Mu was home to visitors from the Pleiades.
We have one kind of connection in the Pleiades, but we call it Mapoi Kalani, the people of the Hagu. According to our traditions, there are some people that lost. And these we call Mu or the Lumarian people you might refer to. They existed at one time and then we lost them. Like Louis and Sina.
The Hawaiians believed that the Hawaiian Islands were originally part of Mu, and the belief is that the Pleiadians were the original settlers of Mu.
While most mainstream scholars dismiss the stories of Mu as being little more than a fanciful myth, ancient astronaut theorists claim that remnants of Mu can still be found today in the mysterious ruins of Nan Madol.
Nam Madol is a huge basalt city that sits on the edge of the island of Pohnpei in Micronesia, that's in the Pacific Ocean. It's made up of hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of these huge basalt columns. And much of the site is still submerged in the water, suggesting it must have been built many thousands of years ago.
Some people actually suggested that maybe Nanmadol was the last remnant of Mu that was still above water. And it was simply indicative of what had sunk beneath the waves from this advanced civilization.
Could it be that the structures on Nan Madol are ruins of an ancient extraterrestrial civilization known as Mu? According to Rufino Maurizio, the director of the Federal States of Micronesia Office of National Archives, it's a distinct possibility.
The existence of even then the God itself continues to possibly, because it welcomes all kinds of possibilities, including possibilities of people from the outer space influencing what was built here.
Legends of lost civilizations and sunken cities can be found in cultures all around the world, but one has captured the public's imagination more than any other, and some believe we may have found evidence of its existence in the Bermuda Triangle. Number 8 on our top 10 mysteries of the deep, Atlantis. For over 2,000 years, the lost continent of Atlantis has sparked the imaginations of historians and explorers. The first reference of Atlantis that we have is in Plato's dialogues by Timaeus and Critias. In the very end of Timaeus, he talks about this mythical place called Atlantis, from where any and all knowledge of the world came. And so some people have suggested that the first civilization on Earth may have been Atlantean.
According to legend, Atlantis was founded by the god Poseidon. He fell in love with a human woman named Cleito, and they had 5 sets of twins. And these twins went on to be the founders of Atlantis.
Atlantis is thought to be a great civilization of high culture and technological achievement. They had robotics at a very advanced level, the power of levitation, which is how they built their glorious cities. They achieved things that we still are not able to do.
According to Plato, Atlantis was destroyed in a single night by a cataclysmic flood, which some identify as the Great Flood described in the Bible. But where the famous city was located remains a mystery.
Atlantis was allegedly this landmass that existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is today's Strait of Gibraltar. And to this day, if Atlantis existed, we have no idea where exactly Atlantis was.
While most mainstream historians dismiss the story of the sunken civilization of Atlantis as a myth, ancient astronaut theorists believe it really existed. And as evidence, they point to a remarkable discovery made off the coast of Cuba. Pinar del Rio, Cuba, 2001. Canadian explorer Paulina Zalitsky and her team are conducting an oceanic survey of the coast when they detect curious formations more than 2,000 feet underwater.
So I was in control room on board of the ship. There suddenly appeared very large, very dark images of perfect geographical shapes. This structure reminds me ancient harbor structures made of large stones placed one on top of another.
They found, when they were taking images, some kind of pyramidical structure and other structures. There were circular areas, there was what appeared to be some kind of city built down there. It was about 2 square kilometers in size. So this is something quite astonishing if this is, a reality.
But most certainly, this dates back several thousand years and arguably even earlier and is part of a lost civilization.
Is it possible that the underwater ruins off the coast of Cuba are the actual remains of Atlantis? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and as further evidence, they point to their location near the Bermuda Triangle, a region notorious for mysterious lights, strange disappearances, and unexplained phenomena.
It's speculated that in Atlantis, they were creating huge pyramids and energy devices. The idea is that there is still one of these pyramids, and it's active beneath the Bermuda Triangle on the ocean floor. And it's creating these anomalies that are sometimes
if you're a researcher into Atlantis, this is exactly the kind of discovery that you are looking for. Some kind of pyramid that's underwater. In fact, this may well be really the evidence for Atlantis that we need.
Did Atlantis really exist? Recently, a mysterious metal alloy was recovered from the depths of the ocean that may offer further evidence. Number 7 on our countdown, Orichalcum.
Sicily, 2015. Archaeologist Sebastiano Tusa excavates a shipwreck less than a mile off the coast, which has remained undisturbed for more than 2,600 years. His team dredges up an ancient payload of 39 metal ingots. Spectrographic analysis of the recovered alloy reveals the compound is unlike anything ever found in the ancient or modern world.
The interesting part about this is the composition of the ingots that they found. The metal is 80% copper and 20% zinc. There was other things found in it, but that's the majority of the composition. What's interesting about this is that zinc doesn't naturally occur. We didn't have zinc until about 1,000 years ago, and this is 2,600 years old.
How is it possible that such an advanced alloy was produced thousands